Why, hello! I hope everyone is having a good spring? Is it summer yet? I don't know. To me, it's summer. I'm here to do the Q&A video for all of the questions you guys have left me on Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, and I decided to do it outside because it's beautiful out and I like hearing the birds and the wind chimes, so. I wrote down a list of these questions so that I could just read them off while I'm filming. So they're in no particular order, but I'm just going to start. The first one I have written down is favorite piece in your wardrobe. That one I've been thinking about, and it's kind of a hard one because I do have a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff that I really like. But I would say I have the Nelda jacket from Volhiaga, which it's so warm. It's very insulating. It looks like something a vampire would wear, and it's velvet with gold embroidery. I think that's really beautiful. I see the squirrel over there. His name is Orville. My mother named him that after Orville Peck. Have you ever thought of doing a Mad Hatter cosplay? I actually kind of haven't, but I've been seeing those comments a lot on my TikToks and stuff saying that I look like Johnny Depp's version of the Mad Hatter, so maybe I'll do that, especially because I already have a friend who lives close, Rain, who did a cute Alice in Wonderland cosplay, so maybe we can do a little collab. How's it going on the short film? So that's kind of a tough one because it was going well. I was writing the script. I had a lot of things organized for who was going to be performing what tasks and roles and all that stuff. I had a lot of extra people who have offered to help, which I am still planning on reaching out to. But I have been struggling with my health lately. My chronic migraines have just been crazy. Today is the first day that I don't have a migraine in the past 6 days. And when I get migraines, it kind of varies between just being like bad head pain to like vision is hard, like I can't see clearly, I'm like on the floor throwing up. So I've been really trying to figure out what's been going on. I've tried a lot of stuff, but if you have any recommendations, I'm always open to trying anything else because I would love to find something that works. So if you have any migraine cures, let me know down below. But the short film is still happening. It's just been put on the back burner a little bit because it's hard for me to organize with a bunch of other people while I am struggling to just do my daily tasks. So that is coming. Top 3 favorite books. Ooh, man, that's a loaded question. So about a year ago, I read the Mistborn trilogy, and those books are really great. I think that book 3 is just one of the best things I've ever read. The first book, I was like, wow, this is great. The second book, I was like, okay, like, where are we going with this? Book 3 fully had me sobbing by the end, and I don't tend to cry a ton when I read, so that was like it was a lot to process, but it was so good. So I definitely recommend that series. I really like book 4 in the Dune series, God Emperor of Dune. It's very philosophical, pretty boring, there's like no action, but for some reason it is just one of my favorite books because it is, I don't know how a human being can write that. I don't want to give anything away, but it's wild. If you like world building, it's so good. I really like Ender's Game, specifically books 2 through 5. Those books are really good, and I also love the Dan Brown books. I haven't read all of them. I really like the Dark Elf trilogy by R.A. Salvatore. That is actually the first fantasy series I've ever read. I read it when I was in 7th grade. It is set in the Forgotten Realms, so if you like D&D, it's really good, but I can't pick. Those are like, I know I said more than 3, but those are the ones. What is your hair routine? Your curls are always beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a really boring hair routine, and I'm so sorry because I get this question a lot, but I wash my hair with shampoo that I get at the grocery store. No particular kind. It's just like a generic curl brand. It's coconut flavor. And then I also used the Hask curl cream. It's like a coconut curl cream. And then I have another product. It's the, don't remember what it's called. I'll put it right here. It's by Ceremonia. It is like another type of curl cream, and I kind of just alternate between those two, and I always let my hair air dry. Only brush when wet because that's how you're supposed to brush curls. So yeah, sorry it's not so helpful, but that's my answer. This question is, what's it like to be non-binary? I don't know. I guess for me it's normal because it's just how I experience living my life. But I guess just not being particular about like masculine or feminine stuff. Like when I was a kid, I loved princess movies, but my favorite princess movies were Mulan because she got to pretend to be a boy, which I thought was so cool. And I also loved Sleeping Beauty because she got to wear a pink dress and a blue dress, and blue was a boy color in my brain. So, I don't know if that really describes it, but I just feel like I'm kind of in the in between of those two things, and I don't know. I use all pronouns, so I'm not really particular about that either. I'm just kind of existing in a way that feels good for me. What's your favorite outfit? Well, I really like wearing my armor, especially my Eventide set that Epic Armory sent me. It reminds me of one of the books I just mentioned, the Dark Elf trilogy. I'm actually planning a look for that soon, but I don't know if armor can be considered an outfit. I have, like, on my Instagram, I have a highlight that's called Fit Archive, I think, and I'll put a couple here because I don't know that I can pick just one. I'll put a few up here that I really like, and I always try to post my outfits on there when I come up with one that I like because I think it's fun to share and keep track of. So if you ever want to see my outfits, that's a good place to look. What motivates you to post, and are you super picky with it? I'm not super picky with it. I can be a little bit particular about the editing because I like to edit photos and I like to edit them the way that I like them. As for what motivates me to post, I just love taking photos and making videos, so I don't know that there's really anything motivating me other than I enjoy sharing what I create. This one says, have you ever astral projected before? I have not. I've never tried, but I have done like past life regression meditations, and I really like doing those. It's always a cool experience, even if, you know, it's not truly like a past life thing. I think just meditating in general and doing like a brain exercise where you visualize something is really cool, and I think it's good for your brain. How have you made friends in the fantasy space? So a lot of my friends are also creators who I've met through, you know, we'll go to the same events or photo shoots or whatever. But I've also met a lot of other people just online. I have mutuals that I interact with that I've never met in person before, that I've just met through Instagram mostly and TikTok. And I've also met a lot of people at like conventions and rent fairs and stuff like that. So I think as long as you're being open to, you know, meeting new people wherever you're going to, I think you're going to find people that enjoy fantasy if you're looking for that. Favorite type of grain? That's an odd question and I like it. Probably rice. I really, really love rice. I could eat rice bowls for every meal. I'm going to stick with that. Rice. My answer is rice. What's your favorite cosplay? I really do like doing my Lestat cosplay. I think my hair's not quite right for that anymore, so I'm waiting patiently for my hair to grow back out. But while I was, you know, not able to do my yearly Halloween Lestat look. I did do Asterion this year, which was very fun. And I'm planning on cosplaying Asterion again at the Colorado Ren Fair this year. What are some of your favorite gender fluid looks to style? Well, I did just mention vampires, which I think that's always a great option. I really like Tudor era men's clothing. I don't really have anything like that, but that's definitely something on my bucket list. I also love kind of goblin core, I guess, just very natural colors, lots of layers and textures and things. I think that's fun to play with, and I really like layering, and that's a great aesthetic to layer. Who is / are your cosplay idols? I would say, I mean, I have so many friends that make just the most amazing things, and I love that I know them. I think it's so incredible that we've all become friends. So I have a ton of friends that I look up to cosplay wise. I would say for someone that I've never met, I really like Alice and Tabitha's cosplays. I'm sure you've seen her stuff. She's truly a shapeshifter. If you had a coat of arms, what would it be? I love ginkgo leaves. That's no secret. So there would probably be a ginkgo leaf on there because it represents strength. Didn't know that, but when I lived in South Korea, I was having a very rough time, and there were ginkgo leaves just everywhere because I was there during the fall. And so the leaves were falling, and I would walk to school and be like, damn, having a hard time, but those are pretty. So I think that's definitely become a good symbol for me. I love baby's breath flowers. Not sure that either of those things would be great on a coat of arms, but I also love moths, like especially just like little white moths. I think that would be a fun symbol to have. I'm gonna think about this harder because I think this is a really fun question, and here's what I've come up with. This is what Editing Kiki has come up with to show you. I have made my coat of arms. It's very silly, but I actually thought about it and I like it. So we have the ginkgo leaf, as I mentioned. I love that as a symbol for strength. Then we have a bear because before my family last name was changed, it was Medved, which means bear. And then we also have below that a pearl because another family surname of mine was Margolis, which is a name meaning pearls. And then we have a snail because I like snails, and I looked up the meaning of heraldic symbols, and that one was patience, of course, and I just thought it was funny. Can you show photos of when you first got into photography? I can. I will put on screen some photos of me when I was around the ages of 11 to 14. My friend and I, we had a camera that we would take around and we would plan outfits, and this was in the height of the Tumblr era, so that was definitely a huge inspiration. I also did a lot of travel photography with my partner, and after COVID, I started taking photos of my fantasy looks that I never had really shared before, and that kind of seemed to connect with a lot of people. I think we were all stuck in our houses during that time, like escapism is necessary. So, how did you start cosplay? And how did you meet Bella? So I started cosplay because I just always have loved it. My dad started taking me to Comic-Con when I was in like middle school. The first convention I ever went to was a Star Trek convention, and I went dressed as a Vulcan, just a generic Vulcan woman. I thought it was so cool. And I really like making things. My mom is very crafty, so I've always had access to like sewing machines since I was a kid, and I've enjoyed learning how to use them and utilize different techniques to create things, and especially things that I can wear. So I think cosplay was just kind of a natural progression of my interests. I'm a nerd. I like to make things. I like to take photos. That all just became one thing for me. And as for how I met Bella, we actually live really close. So We became mutuals over social media, and then we decided that we wanted to hang out and plan a shoot, and we shoot together with the group. So yeah, that's how I met Bella. What is your job? So currently I work at a health food bar. I also do my social media, which I don't currently make pretty much anything from my social media. I think I've had 3 paid posts my entire time doing social media, so I've really been trying to like step that up and make it more of a paying job, because I do put a lot of effort into it. And I also do freelance social media for just random things that come up. So yeah, those are my jobs. Advice for someone who wants to get into cosplay. I think my biggest advice would be you don't need to spend a lot to make a good cosplay. I have made plenty of things off of free and thrifted materials that I have like bought for a couple of dollars and made some really cool stuff. I do have, I will link it above, but I do have like making a full Renaissance Fair outfit out of thrifted stuff. So don't be intimidated by the cost of things, because that's not a necessity. You can make your way into making cosplay slowly. It doesn't have to be amazing all up front. Some of my first cosplays they weren't bad, but they weren't great. You know what I mean? Like, you learn as you go. So just don't be afraid to start, and don't feel like you need to spend a lot of money to get started also. Favorite singers and bands? My favorite band is Steel Eye Span. They are a medieval revival English band from the 70s. I love medieval ballads and tales, so there's something about hearing them retold and re-recorded with electric guitars that just feels very human to me. I just find that combination so cool, because I think there's a lot of similarities between, that was a big bee. Anyway, I think there's a lot of similarities between things that people were going through in the medieval period, as well as the 70s, as well as now. And I think history is really cool, because when you learn about history, you realize how connected everything really is. And so I love that I have found a band, and there's also a genre with, lots of other artists that I like, but they're definitely my favorite. But I like that I found a band that kind of encompasses the reasons why I like history so much, and retelling stories that I really enjoy. I also grew up listening to a lot of Korean and Japanese music. So lately I've been liking, I love Stray Kids, I love NCT, and this is really random, but I also love Icelandic R&B. So Aaron Can is another one of my favorite artists. I really like Ivor, Skald, Heilung. Those are all off the top of my head. Here you go. Here's my little list. Favorite time period to cosplay? I don't do a ton of like historically accurate stuff, but that's something I definitely want to do more of. I really like the 1500s. There's something about the ornamentation that just really grabs me. And like, no particular country either, just generally the 1500s I think are a really cool period for fashion. So maybe one day I will be able to do a historically accurate cosplay. I think that would be super cool. I am also working on a Kievan Rus inspired look that I hope to be sharing soon. My ancestry is Slavic, so I've always wanted to do something like that, and I am very excited that it's going to be happening this summer. If you could live in one fantasy world, which would it be and why? That is so hard. I want to say Lord of the Rings, but I feel like that's a cop-out, because I want to live in the Shire. Like, truly, I want to live in the Shire. Other than Lord of the Rings, That's hard because a lot of fantasy stories that I enjoy are very dystopian, so not particularly great worlds to live in. Like, I love Baldur's Gate, but I wouldn't want to live there. I love Mistborn, but I would not want to live in Luthadel. Um, I don't know. I think Zelda could be a cool universe to live in. That seems nice enough. I'm just gonna stick to the Shire because after I visited the Shire, I I am changed. I must make a cozy house. That is the future goal. What sparked your interest into cosplay? I kind of went over this earlier. I think it was just a natural accumulation of my interests, but learning that there was other people who liked to do this also encouraged me to do it because it's fun to do it in general, but it's even more fun to do it with other people, in my opinion. Advice on how to become an influencer like yourself. Man, that's hard because the first video that ever went viral of me was just a video saying that, like, what era is your face from? This is not a modern face or whatever. So a lot of people started coming to my page and saying, like, wow, you look just like Lestat, you know? And I just started kind of like replying to comments and kind of grew that way. But I think as time goes on, it's tricky because the algorithms are always changing and there's no like guaranteed way to get a following of people. I think my best advice would be just to do and post what you truly like and are passionate about, because people will see that. I think enjoyment for things comes through, and it's more interesting to people if they can connect with you and they know that you're truly into whatever niche you're posting in. I hope that's helpful. I am by no means a social media expert here, but there is lots of advice online that is probably much better than any I could give. Favorite type of cheese? Aged cheddar, baby. I love aged cheddar, especially like a Merlot. Delicious. I also love goat cheese, so I'm picking two cheeses. Hair and skin products do you use? I went over my hair products earlier. As for skin, I really like cocoa kind. I don't remember what it's called. I have a face wash from them that I really like, as well as a celery cream that is supposed to like moisturize your skin. And then I have a sunscreen I really like from a Korean brand called Innisfree. And I also will occasionally use this Tula, I think the brand is, face scrub, just every once in a while. I really like exfoliators, so yeah, those are my skin products I use a lot. As for makeup, I really like Luna Roots Cosmetics, especially because they come in the cutest packaging, and they're all made of natural ingredients from, I believe it's Vermont as well. I'm wearing one of their lip colors right now, and I love their highlighters. Will you ever travel to Visby in Sweden for Medieval Week someday for a video? You know, I have never heard of this until now, but it sounds right up my alley, and if I can make it happen, I would love to go. I've never been to Sweden before, so I think that could be an amazing future video. Thank you for the recommendation. Favorite creator to collab with and dream collab? That's hard. I think I collaborate with Kate a lot. Kate doesn't live near me, but she is a flight attendant, so we do get a decent amount of chances to hang out throughout the year. And we also have gone on 2 trips together now, one to New Zealand and one to Ireland. So I think Kate's a lot of fun to collaborate with. My air conditioning just turned on. Hello, it's editing Kiki. So yeah, after my AC unit turned on, I waited for it to turn off, and then when I hit record again, the camera just went crazy with the exposure, so it looks not so good. And I was gonna refilm it, and then I got a migraine again that almost sent me to the emergency room. So I asked you guys on my Instagram if this would bug you guys, and you said it was fine for the most part, so I did not refilm it. I'm just gonna edit what I got, and my apologies. It wasn't intentional. I wish it looked better. Anyway, I was right in the middle of talking about my favorite collaboration. As I mentioned, I really like hanging out with Kate because we've gone on so many trips together, and I think we kind of have like a system down of how we like to work together. As for my dream collab, that's hard. I really had been wanting to work with Finn and Kiki, and I got to meet both of them in New Zealand, so that was super cool. I guess I have a lot of friends and mutuals that live in France that I would like to collaborate with, so maybe that will be next on my bucket list of where to go and meet people. What is your nationality and ethnicity? I'm American, and my ethnicity, my ancestry is Slavic. I'm Balkan and Polish, a little bit of Austrian in there. So yeah. How hard was it to plan your fantasy picnic logistic-wise? I would like to plan one as well. Honestly, it wasn't hard at all because everyone just kind of showed up and brought their own stuff, which was so fun. So I basically just told people, here's the park that I'll be going to. I'll have some snacks and some drinks, but if you want anything specific or anything to share, please bring that for yourself, as well as, you know, like candles or a blanket because it's going to get dark out, and, you know, come and cosplay if you want. And everyone showed up with like blankets, so much food and drinks to share. We had people reading to each other, people playing instruments. Like I was just kind of expecting it to be just, you know, a couple of us just sitting in a circle at the park dressed up, but it became a whole thing, and I would love to do it again. We got to take photos together, so yeah, definitely wasn't hard. If you have people who are into the fantasy vibes, then I think it will be easy. You just tell them to show up and have a good time. How did you break your wrist? I was filming a video on the beach in New Zealand dressed like a pirate, and we were fake fighting, and we were like pre-planning, like, okay, I'm gonna push you like this, and you're gonna push me like this, and then I'm gonna fall, and everyone's like, just be careful, don't land on your wrist wrong, you could break it. And I'm like, guys, don't worry. We filmed this like 6 times, and every single time, like in my head, I'm like, don't put your hand down, and I would fall and not brace myself with my hands. We were like, let's just do a couple more. So we film one, and as I get pushed, I'm like, I'm gonna sell it. Forget to not put my hands down. I put both of my hands down. I hit the ground, just kind of like rolled over for a second, and then in my head, I'm like, you gotta finish the scene, dude. You gotta get up. So I got up and I continued. But yeah, this is what my wrist looked like after. So that is how I broke my wrist, dressed like a pirate. Ooh. You know, as lame as it is to break your wrist on vacation, I will say, truly an affordable place to have an injury. So I can't complain about that. Fave anime and manga? My favorite manga growing up were Sugar Sugar Rune. I was obsessed with that one, and I did do a little cosplay last fall, which I was so excited about because it's kind of niche, but I love it. And I really liked Tokyo Mew Mew. I had the whole set of both of those, and I read them multiple times. So those are my favorite manga. As for my favorite anime, I love Ouran High School Host Club. I love Psyche K. Death Note. I'm still watching Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, and I do really like those. But I just don't watch anime as much as I used to. I have other niche things that I enjoy watching, which we will get to later. Favorite video games? Okay. Love Half-Life. Has to be one of my favorite games ever. I also love Portal. And if you didn't know, those two games have interweaving lore. And I love lore. So that's great for me. Love all the BioShock games. Fallout's obviously great. I love Halo, specifically Halo 3 and Halo Reach. Baldur's Gate 3 has been my hyperfixation lately. I love Animal Crossing. Yeah, those are probably my favorite games. Do you ever feel intimidated by the fantasy community? I feel so pressured to be perfect, like I'm just not good enough to be here, and I'm worried my fantasy friends don't think I'm cool enough. It's silly. Um, I can't say that I feel intimidated by the fantasy community. I mean, when you really think about it, we're just a bunch of nerds who like to put on outfits and do escapism things. You know, go to LARPs, go to Ren fairs, be silly. I feel like fantasy is for escapism, and as long as you're having fun, I don't think that it really matters if people like don't think your outfit is as cool, you know? Like I don't think anyone's thinking about that. You know, I've never been to a Ren fair or a convention and been like, man, that outfit's just not doing it for me. It's like they made that outfit. That's sick. I don't know. I don't experience that. I don't think you need to be worried about people not thinking that you're cool, because when you really think about it, we're all just living on a rock, hurling through space, dressed up with elf ears on, and you should just be worried about having a good time, in my opinion. How do you plan/prep TikToks at group shoots? So when I work with a lot of people, like with Bella, Rain, Jackie, Shay, Athena, there's 6 of us usually, if not more, and we all try to get at least like 3 or 4 videos. So what we do is we make like a saved folder on TikTok of like videos that we like or audios that we like, and then we each make a note like, I want to use this audio, and you know, so and so will say whichever line and stuff. So we'll send it to each other beforehand so we can all take a look at it and kind of be prepared for what we're going to be filming for ourselves as well as for each other. And once we get there, we pick an order that we're going to go in, usually like alphabetical or reverse alphabetical. We all take turns. Someone films one video. Once that's done, the next person, and we go through the line until we each have about 3 or 4 videos. And usually it only takes about like 3 or 4 hours, which is, sounds like a lot, but you have to think we're getting multiple takes of almost 25 videos. So I think that's a valid amount of time for as many videos as we try to film. What's the biggest driver for your art and creation? I don't know. That's a good question. I think truly it just makes me feel good. I really like creating things in all different kinds of mediums. I love writing, I love filming stuff, I love modeling and creating costumes. I think the motivation comes from just it's truly an enjoyable thing for me. When will you be at the Colorado Fair this year? It's on my bucket list to meet you because your video from last year was my vision board and it's coming true. I'm getting married the second weekend there. Congratulations. That's so exciting and I'm so happy to hear that. I am planning on going there definitely for closing weekend. I would love to go for opening weekend. Not sure that that's gonna happen yet. Definitely will be there closing weekend, and I will be doing an Asterian look for the Ren Fair because I think that would be so fun. Where do you find inspo for fantasy looks? What advice do you have for executing creative ideas as awesome as you always do? First of all, thank you for the compliment. I find a lot of inspiration from movies that I like, Pinterest photos, other creators, costumes that they create, books that I read. I think I'm just a very visual person, and so I usually tend to have a pretty clear idea of things that I like and know what things work for me, and how I can style future looks to kind of fit within that scope, I guess. Like, for example, I know that I like high-waisted pants on me, as well as my belts to sit like higher up, because I think it separates my short little body in a nicer fashion. So, you know, if I'm gonna plan like a Viking look, I know like, okay, I know I like belts a lot. So maybe we'll do like a thick belt in the middle, and then we can do, you know, accessories here, pants or whatever below. But generally, I think Pinterest is a really good spot to get inspiration, because I have found a lot of cool hacks on how to make stuff and styling things in ways that I haven't seen before. Would you prefer to live in the countryside or the city? I think definitely the countryside. A while ago when I was like in high school, I probably would have said the city, but I lived in South Korea and I think I kind of got that out of my system. I think cities can be a little overstimulating. It's very fun because there's always, you know, lots of energy and people around you, but sometimes I need to escape that. I definitely would love to live somewhere that's like a little off the beaten path and have just a giant yard. I think that'd be super cool. So I'd probably pick countryside. Favorite childhood books? I loved the I Wonder Why books so much. Man, it's all making sense to me why I love lore so much as an adult. I would just sit and read those, and they just had like little facts and blurbs and photos about tons of different stuff, and I was obsessed with those books. An early childhood memory. My first memory that I ever have was probably about 2, and I loved the cemetery when I was a kid. I thought it was so pretty. I loved that it was just trees and flowers and like sculptures. And so I asked my mom to take me on a picnic in the cemetery. So one of my first memories is sitting under a tree at the cemetery with my mom. I think I was eating a Lunchables, and it was great. It's a great first memory. I still love cemeteries. I think they're so peaceful. What does your handwriting look like? I will put it on the screen. I pretty much always write in cursive, but it's like my own cursive because I have beef with some of the cursive letters in the alphabet, like B. Ugh, I hate that letter. If you could visit any era/place in time, what would it be? As long as I could come back, I would go pretty much anywhere. I wouldn't want to stay. I think seeing, like, I don't know, seeing ancient Greece or Rome would be super cool, because I really like that style of architecture, and a lot of what remains today is just kind of in ruin. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So that would have been really cool to see. I also think the 1700s in France could be pretty cool. I don't know. I would go anywhere. I love history. Take me wherever. I'll go. Your most used top 3 emojis? Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it is the swords, this heart, and the eyes? Or maybe it's this like happy crying face? Here's what they actually are. That was my best guess. We'll see how good I was at guessing. What is your favorite season and why? I definitely would have to say summer, because I do not like the winter. I do not like the cold. It makes me very sad. So I'm very happy to just be able to sit outside and be warm and have the sun actually hitting my skin. This one is, can you read a favorite quote of yours? I have this quote memorized. It's a great one. The mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to experience. And it's by Frank Herbert from the Dune books. I I just love those books. They're so philosophical and cool, and they're crazy. They're also crazy, but yeah, that's a great quote. What are your cat's names, and how do you bathe your hairless cat? So this is Cinder. He is the black fluffy cat. He's huge. We think he's part Maine Coon, but he's Cinder. And then my hairless cat, her name is Satin, because she's like silky smooth, you know? But she only responds to Queen, so she knows her self-worth. As for how do you bathe her, she doesn't like it. She does not really like it that much. I'll put a clip here. She kind of yells and screams until I can get her into the water, and then once she realizes that it's warm, she like still isn't having a great time, but she's generally okay with it. What are... Oh, I'm getting a yawn. Oh boy. I'm getting a yawn like I'm getting a phone call. What are your favorite movies? My favorite movies are kind of funny because I feel like they don't really like align with my interests as like a fantasy person, but in no particular order because I don't think I can choose. Django Unchained. I don't know why I love that movie so much. I also love Inglourious Bastards, both by Tarantino. Those are the two movies I saw when I was like probably in high school that I was like, I want to direct a movie because that was crazy. Shawshank Redemption is so good. I love The Usual Suspects. And then I'm going to say The Dark Crystal because obviously I'm obsessed with that. Very different from all the other ones I just listed, but all great movies. Favorite place you've ever traveled? I really like Italy because I love art history, so being able to go to like the Uffizi in Florence and see the Judith and Holofernes painting by Artemisia Gentileschi, so good, makes me cry. I also really liked going to France because I got to go to the Louvre and I fully cried multiple times seeing the Nike of Samothrace. We also went to Musée d'Orsay, which I got to see William Adolphe Bouguereau's paintings. The one of Dante and Virgil in Hell is one of my favorites ever. So I would say anywhere that I can go to art museums is probably my favorite, but nature-wise, I think, like if I'm not picking somewhere based solely off of my niche interest in art, Bali is really cool, really beautiful scenery there. And I love Edinburgh in Scotland. Yeah, kind of different vibes, but I like them both. What are you reading currently? I'm currently reading The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. She actually sent me this book, and I love it. I wasn't expecting to love it so much. It took me a minute to kind of get into it, but I'm really, truly enjoying it, and I think I'm going to cosplay the main character soon. It's a cute little sapphic book about a witch and a tattoo artist in the Regency period, so, you know, can't really go wrong with that. Favorite things to watch on TV? Honestly, I don't watch a ton of TV, like pretty much no TV. I have been watching Shogun, which is very good. It's a little heavy, but it's great. I mostly watch Dimension 20. I am currently watching Fantasy High. I just started junior year. I had to get caught up, so that's what I'm watching. Also love watching bankruptcy videos about why companies go out of business or how they become abandoned. I don't know. I also love shipwreck videos. The Costa Concordia has to be my favorite because that captain really might be the worst person ever. I know you like art history. Do you have a favorite artist, piece, or era? I miss your art history stories. Maybe you should do YouTube versions. I used to make Instagram stories on my older account of me kind of going through the history of certain pieces. So if that is something that interests you, I would love to do that again. because I need to share my useless knowledge about art that is only useful when I visit museums, pretty much. As for, do you have a favorite artist, piece, or era? Oh, that is so hard. As for era, I'm going to pick different things for each of these. For era, I would say the pre-Raphaelite era, because I think a lot of great pieces came out of that, and I really like the return to like a classic kind of style. For favorite artist, either Peter Paul Rubens or Michelangelo, because Michelangelo, he was kind of crazy, but that's what makes a good artist most of the time. And I think Peter Paul Rubens just has like a great display of structure in his paintings, and it's very impressive. For favorite piece, I'm not going to say this is my favorite piece ever, but a piece that genuinely surprised me how much I loved it is The Oath of the Heraldry, which I saw in the Louvre. I studied this piece and I was like, wow, beautiful. It's a sad story. I don't know what it was about seeing it in person, but I seriously just stood up in front of it and just like started crying. It was very emotional for some reason. I mean, it's an emotional story in general, but I don't know. It was so much better to see it in real life, I guess. The last question on here, which is the 55th question I will be answering, is how can we support you? I love your content. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have a Patreon if you want some extra benefits. I always link that below on my YouTube videos. You know, sharing and commenting on my videos here is truly very helpful as well. Just engaging with my content in general truly makes my day, and I love hearing from you guys. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this little Q&A video. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. And I have another video planned soon, so be expecting that. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.